Hi, good morning. How's everyone doing? Well, it's 9 a.m. here in the East Coast of America, and I wanted to talk to you about what's going on in our society. In particular, how do you handle friends and family and close associates when it comes to the matter of money? And just in general, how do you handle people around you so that your life is not threatened, or your life is not a risk, or your life is at less risk? You see, if you watch Lifetime, like I do, you would notice that most of the killings or murders are committed by people that we know. For the most part, it's not committed by strangers at all. At least 75 to 85% of murders are committed either by a spouse, a business associate, or a friend, a close friend. So it begs the question, how do we choose friends that we can actually trust? What are the standards we use to choose people around us that we can actually trust? Or, in the case of parents or spouses or family members that we can't get away from, how do we ensure that we maintain a relationship with them that doesn't put our lives at risk? You know? So let's talk about the recent murder that happened just this week in New York City on the 13th of July 2020, of a young man by the name Fahim Saleh, age 33, who was killed and dismembered by his executive assistant, allegedly, by the way. According to police reports, Tyrese Haspil, the executive assistant to Mr. Saleh, had borrowed money from his boss, or maybe he actually stole the funds from his boss. And on discovering this theft, the boss had put him on a payment plan to repay the funds instead of reporting him to the police for stealing. But instead, Sally seems to have continued to trust his executive assistant. And this assistant has been put in so much um, high profile by his boss that he thinks, why would the boss have the audacity to ask me to pay back the money that I stole from him? After all, he should give it to me anyway. Why would I be on a payment plan? And he had no intention of paying that money back. So he decided to kill his boss and chopped him off so that I could throw him away, never to be found. You know, you want to ask yourself, what makes somebody who you have helped become so bitter, so angry, so evil that they want to kill you? Is it that they don't want to be questioned, or is it the narcissism in them, or Is it the fact that he knows he would never have the funds, he spent it, and he would never be able to repay it, and he doesn't want to be reported to the police? I don't know what the answer to the question is, but all I'm all I'm going to say is I think, ladies and gentlemen, let's exercise caution when we make friends and when we bring people in our lives. A lot of people that have been killed by their wives or by their husbands were very attractive. You know, the person killing the other person was a very attractive person. You would never know that there's a evil, sinister plan in their mind against you. They look gorgeous. They look good. They look nice by societal standards. And then you find out that they've killed someone or they were responsible for the death in the family. Which is why I always tell people you can't really judge people by the standard of society based on looks. Some of the most evil people in the world have the most alluring aura. I can go on and on about other examples, but let me talk about my life. In my life, I remember in the year 2013, I was just starting grad school. And I had less than $2,000 to my name. Actually, it was exactly about $2,000. And a friend asked me for money because she was trying to get out of a certain country. So I lent her about $300 out of that 2,000 at the time. And she had said, "Oh, I will give it back to you." I think it was 2 weeks or so. I knew she wasn't going to be able to give it back to me in 2 weeks. It wasn't working. So I gave her a few months. I didn't ask her for the funds. Big mistake. When I asked her for the funds 2 months later, she got into an angry fit and made me feel bad for asking for my own money. She actually turned the entire thing against me and said, "I've paid you back." There was no evidence that she paid me back. I mean, she lived miles away. There was nothing in my bank account that showed she had paid me back. There was nothing in any of the apps that showed she had paid me back. So I could easily defend myself if I took her to court to receive my funds. And you wouldn't believe how evil she looked when I questioned her on the phone, on a video call. How sinister and angry she looked that I had the audacity to ask her for my funds back. Now, this is somebody that I'd been friends with since college. So I thought I knew her very well. You think you know people, but you haven't seen all the sides, all their different sides. I didn't see that side of her until years after we had been friends. I mean, more than 5 years. For the first time in my life, she actually scared me. To the point that I said, "You know what? Don't worry about it. You've been an awesome friend, and I don't want us to work to fight over $300. It doesn't matter. You return it to me, okay? Fine, thank you." And that was it. I didn't report her to anyone. I didn't take her to court. It wasn't that significant amount of money. It wasn't such a significant amount of money, even though I actually really needed it at the time. I mean, come on, I was a broke grad student, right? Any money was valuable to me. Fast forward a few months, rewinding back a year or so before then, I started to remember how she had come to complain to me about a friend of ours who had lent money to her cousin. She had said to me, "Why is this girl even bothering to take her money back? What is the big deal? She only gave us $200. So what? Why is she so pushy because of $200? What's the big deal? It's such a small amount." And I'm thinking to myself, if it's such a small amount, why did your cousin have to borrow $200? And why is it so difficult for her to pay it back? But I didn't say anything. So I now realize that this is a pattern for this person. These are the kinds of people that could probably kill you if you are dealing with a large amount of money on a higher level. You see where I'm going with this? So, after that incident between myself and now thinking back to other conversations with this friend, I resolved to never ever lend money to people that I couldn't afford to lose. So this is what I did, or this is what I do. If somebody comes to me as an example and they say, can you borrow me $5,000? I just tell them, you know what? I'm very liquid right now. I'm very rich right now. A lot of my funds are tied up in investments, or I just helped my dad with something, and I'm kind of, you know, not unable to give you that 5,000K right now. But what I can do is I can give you $750 and you don't have to pay it back. I mean, who's going to refuse an offer for something you don't have to pay back? It's not the 5,000, but it's something, right? So that's what I usually do. I cut the money into several layers and I offer to give it to them. That way, they don't feel guilty. I don't feel worried. And they can go and do whatever they want. They can disappear for all I care. But my life is not at risk because somebody is unable to pay me back and they're angry about it. The second thing that I do is I don't let anybody know my financial capacity ever. I have my own business and maybe it's doing okay. Sometimes things are good, sometimes things are bad. But I never ever let it slide that I have the capacity to help anybody. I just don't let it happen. Nobody knows. Because what happens is these people, they get jealous, they get angry, and they want to kill you. So if you're doing really well, let's be careful how we reveal about ourselves to people. The other thing is number 3, stop offering people help. Just stop it. Because a lot of times these people know that they can never ever repay your kindness. And it annoys them, it angers them that they take it out on you. See, I have another friend, which is funny because she's related to this friend of mine too. It seems like bad blood runs in their family. I don't know. This friend, every time I offer to help take care of her dad, because her dad lives very close to me and he's getting old. He's getting old. He's a little bit elderly. And she lives really, really far away. So sometimes I say, if you want me to go drop off something for your dad, I'd love to. And she will just keep quiet. She doesn't want to be owed. She doesn't want to owe any debt of kindness because she knows she doesn't intend to pay me back. The other thing that I noticed was there was a time that they had a baby shower in their family, and I traveled miles to see her. to celebrate with them because I've known these people for a long time. They're like, I think, family to me. When I came back from the trip, she stopped talking to me. You see, my talking point here is you really have to evaluate why you do the things you do and how you do them. More specifically, how you pick your friends, who you pick to work with you, and why you do those, why you pick them, what you reveal to them, what you don't reveal to them, how close they get. For example, if you go out to eat with your friends and you have to split the bill, I would suggest that you always take cash so that you don't have to deal with the confusion that often comes with splitting a bill at a restaurant. Just give them a $50 bill and tell them to keep the change so that you're not getting into an argument with people. Stay away from any argument that has to do with money because people's egos are often involved and you don't want to get flagged. What happened to Fahim Saleh is extremely sad, and I feel extremely sad for his family. I wish them happiness, and I wish that they are able to go through this with grace and strength and courage. But I know it's tough. I lost my mom recently as well, but it's nothing compared to this. I really wish them strength through this hard time. So, my friends, this is my talking point today. Have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.